It seems that no matter what, pinball will always come back to haunt me.
I'm not sure what you're referencing.
The stage's name, it's the Pinball Zone.
Yeah, but when does pinball haunt you?
Well, first off, Sonic Generations. And then, Sonic in
I guess
general.
Sonic in general,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, but between all of this, this is, on a normal playthrough, at least, the longest stage in the game. The longest. Well, actually, yeah, the final stage is still relatively short, I think. But yeah, this is Pinball Zone, and you shall soon see its gimmick. You have to throw these balls into the slots, and just doing so will complete objectives. Unfortunately, there
Interesting.
is a lot. Well, the thing is about this is that it gets. In easy mode, this is just, like, for the most part, a matter of time. In hard mode, they put more obstacles in your way. But if you had the music up, right now, this is the track where I said that it elicited a feeling where, just like, I had not a vision, but like, you know how just like when you listen to certain types of music, you imagine yourself in a certain situation.
Yeah.
Yes. So this one, just like when I listen to this, I imagine like um a beach arcade, like an old style arcade with like stuff with foosball and all that stuff, not with electronic arcade machines, but just like an old style arcade at a beach, and it's Sunday, and the arcade is technically open, but barely anybody comes there on a Sunday, so it's like really quiet and nobody's there. There's like just like one guy like manning the station, and then maybe like two kids who got permission to come here on the Sunday would just be there, and they'd just be playing the games in the distance, and that'd just be what's happening. That's a very detailed thing, I know, but that's how I roll.
Yeah, I was about to say that. That's really a very thorough account of what this music makes you feel like.
Yes, but it elicits that feeling, and that is like the definition of chill, without being way too overbearing. So couple that with the fact that this isn't, well, in hard mode this stage is more high action, so I had to pay a bit more attention. But especially in normal mode, you're just you're just gonna get through eventually. It's just kind of long. You have to be on the lookout a bit more for the pyramid pieces. And just match that with how long the stage is. Then you get something that's trying to put me to sleep.
Yeah, just seeing that thing fall down completely breaks your heart.
Yes, well, at least the place wasn't like filled with enemies, as one room will be. Wait, how do you get in there? Seems like a pretty tight fit, actually. Maybe you have to get up on top and... Oh, wait, no. Well, technically you could do it the other way, because that thing is close enough where you can get up top and just hold left. But I decided to be awesome and do it the
Does that
unnecessarily
work? Because
complicated
sometimes
way.
that doesn't work.
Yeah, it does work. The tracking for your movements works that way in this game. Uh, but yeah, this is just, well, maybe it's because there's like a whole bunch of smaller but singular objectives that makes it feel monotonous. Especially since you have to do like, whoops, you have to do like 4 a room. I think there's one point where I have to do 6. And if this thing, well, that was my fault, I admit, but with how the holding physics are in this game, like you can fall down one place and the thing will get hitched up in another place. And it's very annoying. And that enemy keeps respawning.
Yeah, it keeps coming back to this to show you who's boss.
It only hurt me once. And there's also the fact that respawning seems to work weird in this game. Well, it depends. Sometimes enemies will respawn, sometimes they won't. I guess it depends specifically on an area by area basis. And not only that, but these are, I think, the first, if only, invincible enemies in the game. Just there to get in your way. And
the enemies are just spiky balls. Do they count as enemies?
well, the things throwing the spiky balls apparently have an official enemy name instead of just being a hazard. At least I think that's what happened. I haven't looked at Wario Land on the wiki for any reason in a long time. Well, past just the stage names so I can get those keywords correctly. But you know. Oh, come on! Thank you. Yeah, so there's just going to be a little bit of this. I've basically run out of ways to say different things here because this is just the same task with different variations. So I'm gonna need your help.
So what else have you been playing lately?
Nothing other than the obvious, because obvious to us. I wonder if saying that would spoil people. But
I have to wonder if it matters.
I really don't know, especially with our type of viewership. But that it just goes back to the whole I kind of want to focus on one game at a time thing. Maybe two, it depends on like, usually if one game is being like really frustrating, then I'm like, okay, I just want to play this now. I'm thinking of maybe, well, I want to try Far Cry 4, but I'm just thinking like maybe it's too early to do that because I didn't just finish 3. I finished 3 in August, and then I did a replay, which is incredibly rare for me, but I did do a replay in November, I think. Maybe it was October. Whatever. The point is that the fact that I already replayed that, and because I know that Far Cry 4 is an inferior game in almost every way, just like I think it might be a bit too early to do that. It might just like leave more of a sour taste than it needs to.
Yeah, I understand that. It might. The fact that you're a bit tired of it.
Yes, so
you don't want that to sour your opinion on the thing.
I don't want to feel a bit tired to begin with on this franchise because I just love the format of how everything is. So I'm thinking maybe between the games that we're playing now, maybe it's better that I go and finally play Lost World.
It's definitely an idea.
I mean, if I were to save just like what was stopping me, I really wouldn't be able to give an answer. It's always just been there, and I keep being like, oh yeah, Lost World, and just not remembering. I guess you could say that's more indicative of the game itself, but
Yeah, it's always a response that people often give, that if you've forgotten about it, it's the game's fault.
I actually watched an interesting video because I originally had a project where I would try and rewrite Lost World, but instead I would, well, when I rewrite things, I want to keep it as close to the original material as possible to show that it could have been done with the elements that they had. And I still kind of like that idea. But somebody did one where they changed elements slightly, and the story is like so much more engaging as a result, and I just have to applaud that guy.
Yeah, basically just good knowledge about how that sort of thing works, like how story structure and changes and
Yeah, because
motivations.
he fixed like he fixed the character, he fixed the villains, which are like one of the biggest problems with the game. The villains are just so they have potential, but they're just so ugh. And just like he not only like fixed them in terms of just like giving them more specific quirks or scenes, but altering them in a way that they evolve as characters. And I'm just like this guy is genius. This is great. But it also just like makes my whole idea look inferior. Not because of the whole oh he's done it and now I can't do it, but more like while my thing
He's
is
just executed better, and your thing has been rendered pointless.
yeah, his is executed better. The only thing I have going for me is that I would be using like them completely in their original state, which I guess is admirable on a certain level, but the problem is that unlike with Sonic Forces, where because of how story heavy that is, I could change just small elements and still manage to get away with altering the final product how it plays out just on a macro level. In this, it's specifically more character based. So the fact that I am still sticking with the characters is much more of like a challenge than something that would be appealing to an audience over his video.
Yeah. Someone might think, oh, that wasn't necessary, while others might think that if it's no longer like the original characters, then what's the point? It's like those Pokemon hacks that say Cut is now a steel type move and has 60 damage, and this now has 40 damage, and there's 6 new moves, and it's like, why would I? That's just no. Why would I want to do that?
It's just like how I kind of do. I'm fine with Pokemon randomizers in terms of the Pokemon you get. But if you start randomizing, if you go with that and you start randomizing the moves and the types, I'm just like, then
Yeah,
what's the point?
You aren't playing for the Pokemon. It's not like you're getting randomized Pokemon. You're just getting randomized stat sets that the sprite doesn't matter.
And the thing is, it's not exactly like
Not sprites, it's stat sets.
it,
The sprites don't matter for.
it's not.
Did I say stat sets or sprite sets? But continue.
Okay, just like the way you saying that like confused me, even though I wasn't confused before. It's weird. But crap! Don't lose a thought. Ah man, nope, lost it. Completely lost it.
I'm talking about randomizing everything and why that doesn't make sense.
Well, yeah, but I had another point close to that I'm trying to remember. Oh, there's the secret passage. There we go. Hate how you have to basically bounce every set of walls for that one, because there's no queue otherwise. But sure, okay. Hate that kind of design. Of course, we already had that Zelda little discussion about that. But the thing is that when you're playing that kind of game, when you're playing Pokemon, it's not like if you manage to find a legendary early, just like, well, you've broken the game, have fun. First off, especially with how many Pokemon there are now, it would be hard. It's harder to train certain Pokemon at an early point, and between just like even if you get legendaries, um, their catch rate is still legendary catch rate. So with the amount of money that you'd have to decide to spend on Pokeballs early, you won't be able to buy the items you need. And so that would just be like, I guess, some sort of planned strategy, if you think about it.
Yeah, it's like the game balances itself out.
And not only that, but with the move stuff, I'd say the hardest randomizer would be either heart gold or platinum. Well,
So
I guess platinum because you'd have to deal with Cynthia at the end anyways. But I'd say hardest in that case because Gen 4's movesets are absolutely terrible.
yeah, I was about to say that the way Pokemon is now, it'd be easier to train stuff because everyone has great movesets and a lot of items. There's a ton of items in Gen 4, so that's not no different. But yeah, the movesets are very different.
Yeah, a ton of items in platinum maybe. Heart gold, it takes forever.
Yeah, in Platinum. Well, it doesn't help that you're getting all 16. How many types are there? You're getting plates for all of those Pokemon.
Well,
And the fairy plate existed the whole time, but just no one found it.
yeah, well, let's put it this way. It was all okay, we're not going to go into that specific part, I guess, because that would lead into an active discussion about lore that doesn't fit in with each other based off of updates, and I kind of hate those discussions because, like, look, we know why it is how it is. All right, you don't have to make a thing about it.
The thing is that for Pokemon, and this is what lore people don't realize, it doesn't really matter. Because no matter what game is quote unquote canon or uncanon, the timeline is exactly the same and nothing is different.
Yeah, well, I would at least put. Oh darn! I am getting rocked here. But I would at least put it that with the let's. Maybe I'm being a bit optimistic here. I am the optimist out of the both of us, but with the whole Let's Go thing and how they're dealing with the movies, maybe they're finally realizing, hey, we can retread old ground in certain ways and still get something profitable here. So I'm just thinking, does that mean that we could actually get another forgotten set of games? Like, could we get a modern take on Ranger games? Or could we get like another Pokemon Coliseum? Everyone loves that.
I mean, it's possible.
Something
I'm trying to think of every single recent Pokemon game has been like some sort of phone game thing.
Pokemon Conquest 2. Where's that, Nintendo?
Yeah, I love that since. Was that a tactics game?
Yeah, it was.
I've never played it.
I played a little bit of it, but then I think because I was playing Explorers of Sky at the same time, just that took up all of my attention, and I eventually forgot about it. But it was fine for what it did. I'm sure things would have gotten more nuanced and such as things went on. But I still want to eventually go back to that. But if there was a game that I think Game Freak will probably not do at all, yet I'd still want, is a Pokepark game that is Pokepark 3, except, well, varied and good. Because the problem with Pokepark is that it is so explicitly put for children, like small children.
I don't think there's any way that would change.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's like the format of Pokepark I like. it's
Two very
it's
boring
basically
minutes
just like
later.
just like dealing with everything else with Mystery Dungeon, except in an active 3D world. Um, and of course not with the whole Mystery Dungeon things, Mystery Dungeon elements, but just on a general with interacting with other Pokemon as the Pokemon there, just like and doing active battles that way and everything. Just like that would be interesting if only it wasn't so easy and simple because it was very specifically marketed for small kids.
Yeah, if only really. They just cut themselves in a corner with that one.
I forgot what this guy's was named. Uh, I think he's something about a crow. It is escaping me.
Escape Crew.
No, you'd love it to be thematic that way, but it's not. Ah, it is. What is it? I'm. It's
And I'm
on the
assuming
tip
he
of my
doesn't
tongue.
have the name Clock in his name.
Oh wait, no. It just seeing that form has come back to me. It's Cuckoo Condor.
Oh, it's interesting.
Yeah, this is the bosses are. What I realized is that the bosses fit the theme of the place we're going to, even though it should have been obvious to me. Air Rodent was a small rat, that was on a giant stuffed teddy bear, and that was in the toy world. This guy had a giant mechanical clock, and this is the mechanical world.
Okay.
So yeah, the other. I mean, it was obvious with one of the others, but if you think about it in a certain way, but just like now, it's like super obvious to the point where I'm just like, how did I not know that? Just some things. Well, I won't say I pride myself on being attentive, but I notice a lot of very small details, but but the obvious things tend to miss me.
Yeah, that does. I sympathize. I sympathize with that. Where details end up going above your head.
Well, you I not detail. Well, yes, I guess those are the big obvious details. Then in that case,